So it's becoming more and more apparent that more and more people are transitioning to hybrid style training. They've maybe focused on aesthetics, they've focused on bodybuilding. And when I say bodybuilding, guys, like I'm not talking about you been stepping on a stage. That might be what you've done, by the way, which is absolutely fine. But you've been following the principles of a bodybuilder without actually being a bodybuilder, following a split 4 days a week, 5 days a week, hitting steps, focusing on macros, hydration, and just focusing on essentially looking really good. But from my experience, unless you're taking that to the complete edge of reason, competing, going all in, you get bored. That's just what happens. Your body and your mind just start to require more stimulus and more. You just want more. Your body at the beginning is like, God, this is so much. This is so hard to maintain. But before you know it, once you've actually started doing this stuff really, really well, you start to kind of go like, yeah, I'm balancing this really, really well now. And I want to actually see a lot of change and make a lot of progress and push myself and test myself in other areas. So that's what this is all about today. We're going to rip apart what that transition looks like, what you should be focusing on, and how we take clients through this. This is becoming more and more apparent that clients that are coming into Ready for Anything are these people that are kind of training like a bodybuilder without being a bodybuilder, or maybe they have been a bodybuilder and they want to just get into hybrid style training. They want to go through that identity shift. And that brings me on to my first point. It starts with the identity shift. So spoken about this before in multiple episodes. Your identity is everything, right? It influences your decisions. And the best way to describe what an identity actually is your priorities and who you're striving to become. So for example, like the shift that I've personally been going through as a business owner, as a coach in my life is this transition from a guy doing everything on his own to a guy that now has a team with roles and identities and that's also forced me to step up as an individual as well and make sure that I'm conducting myself in the right way. I'm keeping my composure because running a business is tough. It's tough, man. It really, really is. I'm not coming on here to play a little violin, but it's a tough thing to do. And it tests you, man. There's so many highs. There's a lot of lows that come with it as well. You have to wear so many different hats. And it's all right when you're doing it on your own to, you can be whoever you want to be, man. Like you can be losing your head and nobody will know. But when you've got a team, the team rely on you. So the shift I'm personally going through is like really becoming this like figure of influence as professionally, like to my team that we have in the background. Because we've got a team right now of 7 people, 3 coaches, and then we've got a few other people behind the scenes as well. And it's like these are people that I'm speaking to every single day, every single week that are a big part and crucial part Ready for Anything. And if I'm just trying to operate like a guy that's doing this on his own, it's not going to see the success that I want it to see. So that's a big shift that I've been going through. Where else might people see this? They might see it where they become a parent or they step up into like a new role of leadership at work, or they come away from working for someone and they start running their own business, like whatever that is. Now, it happens a lot in fitness and people don't realize it. So there is levels to the gym, there's levels to fitness, levels to how seriously you're taking this. Like level 1 is like someone that's smashing classes, going to diet clubs, and that's that. Like they're literally going to like a class 1 or 2 times a week, some weeks 4 times a week, some weeks once, some weeks never. And then they're also going to these like mad fad diet clubs, stabbing Manjaro into them and going like, oh, this is working now, but they've actually just been taking drugs, right? Anyway, the point I'm trying to get at here is that that's like level 1. Then level 5 is like you're consuming podcasts, you're like following a structured plan, you maybe have hired a one-to-one personal trainer to show you how to execute better technique in the gym, right? And so on and so on. And it just keeps going up and up and up. And every time you enter a new level, it requires you to like shed a layer of skin. There is things that you know you shouldn't be doing anymore. Even things and ways that you're speaking. Like we have an ideal client for someone coming into here. We actually go back and look at it all the time. And there's people we just do not help. Like, and I've actually wrote this down, like people we do not help. Like we just do not help folk that are like thoroughbred bodybuilders. We just don't. And people that just want to do photo shoots, people that just want to focus on aesthetics. Like we just don't help people like this. Like they're just not, they're going to feel like a fish out of water if they come into our program. And then on the other hand, there's people that we do help, and we're very clear on that. People that we don't help. Again, we don't help extremely overweight people that are like morbidly obese, because that is a category of its own. That requires other people to be on that journey. I'm not saying we don't have overweight people in the program, but I'm talking about people that are literally like really, really out of shape, that are trying to find a way, going through a huge shift in identity. They would be better suited to being in another program with more people who have those struggles, who have those beliefs, who are at that part of the journey and going through that. And this is what I mean is like the more you go up the gears, you need to take yourself more seriously. And when you're going from bodybuilder who's just been very focused on how they look, a body's an ornament, not an instrument, it's very much just like hit my sessions, nail my macros, and they can get away with lousy behaviors. I spoke about this in a recent episode as well when it comes to nutrition. I'm not just talking about food quality, I'm talking about like they can just not eat some days. Do you know what I mean? They can just like and stay lean and look good. And because they've done it for long enough, they know how to maintain like that rig and stuff as well. But when someone's going through that transition of being like a bit of a bro, bit of a bodybuilder without really being a bodybuilder, there's things that they have to let go of and things that they need to shift and almost open their mind up to. So this is step one, is that you need to be understanding that this is a huge shift in identity. Like it depends on how much you're into this, but chances are it's probably a big part of your identity. Chances are you're probably known as a person that is a bit different to everyone else at work. If you're this person or whatever it is, right? You need to go through another shift. Now, I'm not saying it has to be like some other formality you're known as at work. I'm meaning like you just need to understand that what got you from A to B will not get you from B to C. And there is certain layers of skin that you need to shed and things that you need to start saying and doing that you're not doing right now. Otherwise, you'd be that person, right? And it's probably a lot of beliefs around training, food, training volume. That's some of the biggest ones I see. I think I need to be doing more. That's not enough. Not that you need to be doing more. You need to be training harder. Like when you're really focusing on like pushing for performance, like committing like this, like training is hard. I'm not saying you need to be smashing yourself all the time, but it says hard. When it says hard, you do hard. When it says easy, you do easy. A lot of people, when they're just training for aesthetics, especially if they've been doing it for a long period of time, as blurred lines, they can get away with like okay intensity, like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. And as long as they're getting the pump and they might not be packing on loads of size, but you can maintain like a really good standard of physique and look the part and a good standard of health by like, it's not super hard, by the way, when you've been doing it for a period of time. And that's what a lot of folk don't realize. So step one is like that shift in identity. You need to be thinking like, what would the person do that's like chasing it down? Would they be more organized? Like they're going to probably have to train a little bit more. They're going to have to be a little bit more disciplined. They're going to have to do a lot more sessions that they don't want to do. Whereas the version of you that's been this sort of bodybuilder has probably been training the same way in a way that you're very comfortable with it, what I call comfortably uncomfortable. So you need to be asking yourself these questions. The next one you need to be doing is like you need to be like really challenging and removing limiting beliefs. Now you can't just remove limiting beliefs. They're there for a reason, right? They are limiting you from the next level, but there is going to be things that you believe is the right way. And it's not that it's the wrong way or the right way. It's just the old way. And you need to let go of these things and you need to challenge your beliefs. You need to stay true to the process and you need to trust the process, because what a lot of people can do when they're transitioning over is they can almost pick holes in things, but it's not because they don't trust the process. It's because they don't trust themselves. And ultimately, they can pick holes in things and they question things and they have all these sort of beliefs that this is going to happen and that's going to happen and I can't eat that much carbs. That's going to make me fat. And if I do that, this is that. And you just need to understand that this new way is going to be more volume, more intensity, like, and you need to trust it. And you also need to be quite open to the fact that like you're just trialing things, guys. Like some people are quite volatile about this, that they're looking at the plan and they're like, I can't do that. Like this will happen if I do that. And it's like, well, just do it and then see if it happens or it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, then look at what you need to change. Like you don't have to action this plan mindlessly to the point that like you're 5 days into it and you're like, that's too much for me. That's not enough for me. Like you do realize that you can just change. Like with every breath, you can like just stop, take a deep breath and then go, cool, I can just change direction here. I can just pivot a little bit. So yeah, so the next one is you need to be obviously trusting that process and just challenging the beliefs that are there, because there's going to be some beliefs there that are going to hold you back. The next part is I want to explain what we actually do when a client comes in. So like our sort of process when a client comes in is that they obviously have the discovery call with myself or another team member, whoever's taking it, typically myself. And then as soon as they're in, they've got a load of stuff they need to do. Like the thing that you need to understand is if you're training and going from one method to another method, it's just about stripping things back. And I would highly recommend it. I'll put some questions in the show notes actually, and I'll show you an example of what we actually do when a client comes into here. You need to be just asking yourself and going for a bit of an audit, and that's exactly what we do. So we have a lifestyle audit, we have an onboarding that every client goes through, and ultimately the first week we say to someone is like, this is where you really are just stripping it back and creating the blueprint. So a lot of people often say things like, I'm just looking forward to getting started. I'm like, you are getting started, but it's really important that we figure out everything about you, why you do, what you don't like, what makes you tick, what doesn't make you tick, your weaknesses, your strengths. And that's what the first week's all about. And then within 24 hours, they have an athletic performance call with Ailey. It's really important for them to build that relationship. Ailey's going to be working closely with them, doing all their programming, all the nutrition, right through the journey as they progress as well. And then in that first week, depending on where the client's at, we don't do this for everyone, but probably 90% of people, because some people it's not actually required because they might have a consistency problem that giving them baseline sessions or test sessions isn't actually going to be productive for them. So, but 90% of the time, we will be giving and prescribing baseline sessions. Now, what are baseline sessions and why do we do them? Fundamentally, if your coach is not, and they're a so-called performance coach and they're pushing you towards events and challenges, and they are not doing baseline sessions with you, test sessions, they're not seeing where your fitness is at, and you've already been turning up with training, they're not coaching you. They're just giving you a plan, right? It's really important that you see the benchmark now for whatever that is you want to do. If you want to go towards high rocks, if you want to go towards like your first ever fitness event, a triathlon, the hybrid games, whatever that is, a marathon, a half marathon, you just want to be faster, like whatever that is. For someone to then progress that, they need to know where they're working with. They need to know what your paces are at. And that's very, very important. It's something that we are so attentive with. Everyone has a bespoke plan and strategy. Everyone we work out, everyone's heart rate zones we work out. And if the person's there, again, I'm not giving people more than they need. But for most people, when they come at a point they're already doing the doing, turning up with training, we work out everything and we teach the person. And along with that, we prescribe them trainings and modules to actually work through so that they can educate themselves and it's relevant to them. So that's what we do with every individual that comes on board. And in 5 to 7 days, they have their call with Carly, what we call their game plan call, where essentially we're mapping out the routines, everything. This all happens in the first week, and you'll know that we spread that out because it can be overwhelming, it can be stressful. That's what most people need. And we have created this blueprint that just gets folk locked in and into a great point. Also, on top of that, what makes it really, really special, and this is what I would really, really recommend. What I'm just doing here is just stripping back what we do. We're very good at getting results for clients, by the way. Right? Go and look at our Instagram. We're very, very good at getting people faster, fitter, stronger, looking good, performing well, competing, getting podiums, we're just good at it, and we're getting just better and better. And I just want to break down our full process of what we do. And yeah, and then in that time, we just essentially just get super clear. And so something that I always say is the first 30 days is so bloody important, like so important. Like you need to just get to know where someone's at, what makes them tick, what's working, what's not working, and then go from there as well. So yeah, and then we have like a 30-day analysis where we basically give that person feedback on what we're doing, and we track and we monitor everything along the way. Now, for every individual that comes on board, that's different because different people are at different points and they have different struggles and different challenges. And we focus on giving people things to focus on within their first 30 days. We call it the 5 commitments. And that is like to build up belief and trust, because you can have the plan, you can have the strategy, but this is the part that most folk don't realize that they don't have. They don't have the trust. And training like this and pushing performance and prepping for events is hard, guys, right? If you're like, I want to train for a marathon, you need to accept that there's going to be a couple of runs, especially at the end, where you're going to be out on your own for hours at a time, questioning everything about yourself, lonely, in your own head. Most folk can't do that, right? And that's why our phase 1 infancy is all about building that trust up. We will not push anyone towards an event or a challenge until they have proven it to themselves, most importantly, that they can do what they said they were going to do, and to us as a team. We need to work as a team and collaborate, and then we will lock that person in. People are trying to get to level 10 when they are on level 1 and they're just not ready for it as well. And then once someone's actually really knocked that out the park, so what does knocking that out the park look like? They're just thriving. They're just getting faster, fitter, stronger, not missing. Adherence is through the roof. Body composition improvements are happening. Strength improvements are happening. And it's just evident in that person's messaging and what they're saying. They're like, guys, I feel great right now. I'm fantastic right now. And then depending on where that person's at, where they came in, between 30 to 90 days from then, that point, we'll then look at, right, can we transition this person into growth? Now, again, it's going to be like, there's going to be things that people still have to focus on from infancy that they have to focus on in growth. Now, growth is where we lock in the first event and we put that person into an event preparation. And this is where so many folk go wrong, where they just sign up to an event with like 8 weeks notice, 12 weeks notice, no base, no consistency, and they think that's the answer to the problems. You need to build up the trust. You need to be doing the do. You need to have months and months of consistency under your belt before you start jumping into stuff like this, because it will showcase your weaknesses so much, because you will squirm when you get to the point when you don't want to do things. And that's when we put that person through that. And the big shift that we're really focusing on at this point is taking the person away from just weight loss, calorie deficit, and actually shifting to someone that is fueling, like looking at food as fuel. Now, that's different for every single person. That takes time. For some people, it can be a few things we say, it's a few unlocks. And for other people, we have to challenge them for months and months because they have driven in a way of thinking that's actually holding them back so much and they don't even know it. So that's what we focus on there. And ultimately, the biggest thing with the event itself, guys, if you've never done this stuff before, the expression I just want you to remember is fuck about and find out. It's going to be a bit of a mess sometimes. It's going to expose you. We've had this conversation with multiple clients where we have to tell them, maybe they go into their first growth phase, they take on their first ever big event or challenge, and it eats them up, chews them up, and spits them out, and they are questioning everything about themselves. And it lets them see that they're not as good as they think they are. In the conversation, we will have like a point of no return, right? So maybe it's 8 weeks out, and this person is just not hitting their sessions, their long runs, they're skipping things out all the time, they're making up stories, and we have to give them an ultimatum at this point. Look, what do you want to do here? Do you want to lean in? Because we're getting to the point, if you don't lock in for this, hit the required volume, this thing is going to absolutely mash you up and you're not going to like the outcome of it. You're not going to be ready for it, basically. Because fitness, guys, isn't built like crammed. Like, you can cram aesthetics, you can like smash like your calories low and lose fat very quickly. Can't do that with fitness, guys. Like, fitness is built over weeks and months and years, right? And repetition, repetition, repetition. Like, a program needs to be action to the point that you're getting faster or fitter or stronger within the desired amount of time. That's what tempo runs are. It's like increasing the distance over time and letting you become more efficient at that pace. That's the point of it. So if you don't hit those runs, you don't get that adaptation, right? It's simple as that. That's why we stopped doing photo shoots, guys. We stopped doing photo shoots because so many folk were scuffing it, and then they were just literally pulling everything together in the last 4 to 6 weeks, getting an okay result. They could have done way better, but almost telling themselves that they've done more than they actually did. You can't do that with performance, guys. Like, you can't. It will chew you up and spit you out, and you go over that line for whatever event you're doing and be like, you make up some mad excuse about how you should have been faster or how you should have been better, but actually you just didn't do what you said you were going to do. And it's as simple as that. It requires discipline, guys, but also just being cool with the fact that if this is the first time you've ever done this, you've not came from an athletic background, you're probably going to leave a lot on the table. And that's the point of this, is like, when you really get that and understand that, you're cool with that and you stay humble to it, and it makes you a lot more humble as well. And it makes you someone that's okay with not being okay. Whereas when you're someone that's just focused on aesthetics, it's almost like it can kind of gaslight the perfectionist in you. And like, perfectionism when you train like this needs to die. It needs to go if you want to be really, really successful. And that's when we move into our final phase, maturity. Maturity is where this is very much so a part of your identity, a part of your life. Like, you are that person that just lives like this. You know where your priorities are at. You know when you pick and choose times to push, to pull, to not do things, to do things. And that is the big shift that we're really helping people through. So yeah, I hope that answered a lot of questions and opened your eyes up to a bit about like how we actually take people through that. Obviously, there's a lot more to that inside of the program. And one of the biggest things I didn't actually even mention that's the big unlock is that we have an insane community. Got a lot of operators in the program. And when you're exposed to that and you start maybe following someone on Instagram, or you see what they're sharing in the chats or their shares in the weekly calls that we run in, you just kind of like, it opens your eyes up a little bit and you're just like, ooh. And you end up in these little secret competitions and cohorts that are happening without even realizing it as well. So that's one of the powers of the community. And like, iron shapes iron, guys. Like, you can go far on your own, but you can go so much further when you've got a team of people around you that just want it as much as you do. It just like expedites the whole entire process. So yeah, guys, if you are interested in obviously following our blueprint, being part of our team, really taking your results to the next level and just like far exceeding anything that you thought you were capable of doing, and you want to run this blueprint, you're committed, because that's the thing, guys. Like, we are looking for the committed guys. Like, we are not like, we will help people, we will be the shoulder to lean on, to cry on, like, we will be your agony aunt, but you have to want this. And if we want it more than you do, it doesn't work. It's as simple as that. So it's fast, it's for folk that are serious. And when I say it's fast, people sometimes hear that, oh, it's not suitable for me, it's not the right time right now. I'm meaning is like, if you literally follow through this, it will complement every part of your life. You'll get better as a leader, better professionally, become a better person, a better partner, a better friend. Like, everything will just get better. Your quality of life will improve. So yeah, guys. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe to the channel. Anyway, guys, on that note, let's close this things off there. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you took a lot away from it. See you later. Goodbye.